Since Halloween is coming up, I thought making a Sleepy Hollow diorama would be fun and spooky. Since the main spooky tree is so iconic, I decided to 3D print one I found online, along with a Headless Horseman model I also found online. So this one does have little 3D printing, but not much. So I'll start with the 3D models printed on my resin printer for maximum detail. Support removal is pretty easy. Isn't the Horseman amazing? What a great model. For the main tree, I just needed to cut some supports away from the delicate parts, and the rest will tear right off. Then I used my little rechargeable rotary tool to remove any leftover support nubs. But let's move on to the fun stuff, making some actual trees. I did a little research into tree modeling and decided to try two different options. The first option is wire and hot glue, and the second option will be wire with modeling clay. Both options that use wire start the same way. I just cut several pieces of this wire. I'm using some green floral stem wire I found on Amazon, links in the description. Then twist the middle sections together. The ends then just get separated apart. One end will become the tree roots and the other end will become the tree branches. For the hot glue option, you just take your wire tree and coat it in some hot glue. It's pretty easy, but kind of a pain, and the glue is, well, hot. The modeling clay route is also really easy as you're just wrapping the wire frames in the clay. I found this to be a bit easier, and it gave me some more control over the final look of the trees, as far as I could texture the clay and use some tools to form it how I wanted. So most of my trees will be made from wire and clay. Just pretend the camera got this shot in focus. My first completed clay tree. I love it. Now I needed to start planning out the diorama so I know where things are going. I get the main tree where I wanted it on my MDF base and traced around it so I know where it goes. Since this will have an LED inside for a glowing effect, I need to find a place to hide the battery pack. Making a battery garage out of cardboard is all that is needed, and then I can solder and run my wires from the battery to the main tree, which has a hole in the bottom to accept the LED. Then I used some Sculpt-A-Mold to create some uneven ground terrain that works its way up to a hill at the back of the diorama, which will hide the battery garage. This diorama is supposed to look old, scary, and run down, so it's not going to have a lot of color. Everything will be muted earth tones. But we can't forget the orange pumpkin head for the Headless Horseman. I mean, come on, it's Halloween. The trees get primed, then painted in a diluted brown, and then some brown and black washes over them. With the base dry, I move back to laying my parts out, then gluing them in with some tacky glue. let's not forget the horsemen. Oh crap. That's right, resin parts are fragile. And I just broke the horse's leg. Oh, no need to panic. Looks like we won't have to put him down after all. He just needs some meatball surgery to fix him right up. The ground needs to be covered in old decaying leaves. So how does one make realistic looking ground cover for a model? I could buy some hobby flocking materials, but the easier way is to grab some old leaves from my yard, dry them out in a low temp oven, then grind them up in a food processor. Bam! Instant ground cover without feeding that hungry Amazon machine. I painted on some scenic glue, which is just watered down PVA glue with a drop of dish soap, then spread on the ground leaves. I like my scenic glue in a squirt bottle, which makes a fun mess, but brushing it on works well too. This worked surprisingly well, and I think it's probably way more realistic than store-bought flocking. But can you spot my mistake? Yeah, I should have painted the ground brown before trying to cover a bright white surface and leaves, because any areas I miss will show through. But there's a fix. There's always a fix. And the fix here is to just add some brown paint to cover the white bits. You can either reflock it with the ground up leaves or leave it as is. The brown actually just makes it look like a muddy forest floor, so I'll add some more leaves in, but won't cover all of the brown paint. With the ground cover in place, I decided to use some sticks from my yard to act as fallen trees or logs or whatever to further trash up the place. Then cheap brown paint for the sides of the MDF face, and we're done. Let's see the final result. If I were to do this over again, I would have made the LEDs show up more. It's a very subtle effect right now, and when the room is dark, it's pretty cool, but otherwise it's hard to see. A tiny smoke machine would have been perfect as well. So smoke would just roll out of the door of the tree with the LED glowing behind it. So creepy. Other than that, I am quite pleased with this one. I'd love to know what you think of it. Leave me a comment and let me know. Happy Halloween, everyone.